for music, one thing that AI-generated music would prevail on is the kind of streaming music that actually doesn't get so much attention. So I think in these areas, no one would care about, the tools of production, because it's digital content anyway. And digital tools for producing music has been around for more than 30 years. I mean, computer-wise.
And it's super difficult to manage to recreate the reality with AI. But there's other projects where you are accepting the randomness, the chaos, the creativity, and the dance of ideas, of chances, and you have so many choices. Then you go with one idea, but you see different output, and you create a third idea. And everybody is super happy because they didn't expect these twists of events or ideas. And in that way, it's more like, wow, this is super fun to do it. Because you are just dancing, like improvising with the material and with ideas and the outputs, and it's a play.
Like I said, it's a giant enabler. It's not a universal solve-it-all tool. We must not look at it as a universal do-it-all, solve-it-all tool. And what I'm always, telling all the people within the group concerning AI is that the output is directly correlated to the input. So if you're not then able to give your idea, tell the AI what exactly you're imagining with details and, specific directions, then improvisation happens.
Mm-hmm.
And AI improvises the way AI wants, and people are disappointed. So at the end of the day, if you do the correct input, you will get the expected output.
The Recursive Round Table. 3 voices, 1 idea to decode the future.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Recursive Round Table. Today we will discuss the adoption of AI from a different lens. So we have invited a couple of different people that we usually have in our round tables. And actually we will start with short introductions with a familiar face. Andrey?
I'm usually behind the cameras. I'm Andrey Andonov, a filmmaker, and I'm the producer of this podcast. But now we are doing an experiment. So the AI is working for us, and we will enjoy the conversation.
Thanks for having me. My name is Konstantin Yankov. I'm currently head of digital strategy and innovation at OM Group in Bulgaria. OM Group is currently the largest communications group on the market. It has been for the past 4 years as well. Once again, thanks for having us. It's a bit out of your typical, storytellers here. But I'm really glad that we are able to discuss this, I think, very, very deep topic.
So I'm Emilian Gatsov, and I'm a composer. I mostly do soundtracks for 20 years. And I work as a freelancer. And I have always been after adopting technologies. So here I am, here.
Could you please share how have AI changed your workflow for the past 1 year?
I have this mixed attitude. From on one hand, it's helpful, like a tool for doing simple tasks that save time, more like an upgrade of kind of software. On the other hand, it's an inspiration as far as you act as a selector, and you try to stay focused on your intention, your signature, and so on. What's more interesting for me is how it's used actually by people who never made music before. Because I think this has the potential to open new paths when you actually don't have all this prejudice that a professional musician can have about how music is created and so on.
Do you think that you need to have some musical experience in order to create music? So,
I think if you want to create professionally made content, it can be both useful and it can be an obstacle, because sometimes you couldn't see what's being offered to you just because you're expecting something else, you're expecting it to be in a certain way, you're expecting things to be made the way you're taught to be made. So sometimes the most interesting part can come from people who actually don't have this experience, or at least they don't have this, music theory background, or I don't know. And most of all, with music, as it works with emotions, what's also really interesting for me is the fact that it has a very strong potential for personal therapy. And it's something that, now this is really something revolutionary that hasn't been here before, because people can, for example, make a song out of their writings, people who didn't make music before. So there is this potential. And this is something that I think it can be used in a creative way instead of just creating music, when you see the context.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, AI-generated music, it doesn't have any context, so it's not really. I mean, you can easily just float the zone with music, with pieces, and nobody needs just 50,000 pieces per hour generated by AI. So you always have to create some context.
I really, really like your take on unlocking potential.
Yeah.
This is what we're looking for in AI as well. The cheap labor. This is definitely like something that is very, near within your reach. That's the thing that everybody is looking to get, and just start optimizing costs and cutting corners, etc. My idea behind implementing AI has always been more towards creating better output and, like I said, unlocking potential. My mind is runs all over the place. It's very scattered around different things. That's why I usually, when I talk, people just find hard to follow sometimes. And for example, AI is a great tool that unlocks potential for me personally by making sure my thoughts are well aligned and make sense for other people as well.
Structure information. You structure your meaning and information in a logical kind of.
Exactly. It brings structure that I have within my mind, but when I try and tell it to other people, sometimes it does not make much sense.
You drift. Your mind is drifting.
It is, but yeah, this is one of my takes again for unlocking potential, and I think AI is great for this. It allows you to make sure that what you want to communicate is communicated well, and with this you start building and taking advantage of this tool. Is about a week ago, I was making a very C-level kind of presentation for one client that we're consulting, and I was discussing with AI how I should present AI, and the AI stake was for C-level. You just need to know that you have one very, very capable assistant. It's not your second brain. It's not your creativity.
Well, recently I was remembering when I was studying filmmaking in Dublin, and strangely enough, our course was full with teachers who were like very into art house cinema. And none of the students were into art house cinema. Everybody wanted to do Batman, you know, from the Irish guys. But but we went and the guys started to showing the Andrei Tarkovsky's movie. And you know, after the movie, most of the people were like really shocked what they've experienced, because they're like long movies, like 2.5 hours, slow pace, whatever, you know. And nobody understands why we are watching this kind of movies, because nobody wanted to do this type of cinema. And everybody wanted to do mainstream stuff, David Lynch or Tarantino, etc. You know, popular cinema. And the teacher, I will never forget that, because he was holding this book of Tarkovsky, and he said, "Now, after the movie, you have to read the book, and then you understand why we watch the movie." And the book is called Sculpturing Time. So basically, the premise of this book is that cinema is the only art form in the human civilization where you are able to sculpture time, to manipulate time. Music cannot do it, poetry cannot do it, literature cannot do it, theater cannot do it. Basically, only in cinema you can compress time, or you can extend time, manipulate it, future, present, past, and that's an unique experience and tool, because then the experience is completely, in terms of transcending experience, gives you amazing possibilities.
And your personal workflow, how has it changed because of AI?
2-3 years ago, we were using AI to cut the stuff, to sort the stuff, to transcribe the stuff, to say. And now it's in every phase, from script writing. You have a creative partner in any stage, and it's huge. It's super powerful.
Would people who haven't done films so far do the same level of production as people who have done films and studied filmmaking?
If they learn the language, cinema is a language.
So they still have to work.
Yeah, but the time to learn it, again, we are going back to the sculpturing of the time. It's super quick. Like for a couple of months, if you just do it, you'll be professional.
Isn't it more about, you know, your imagination and your mindset? Because you say that they need to learn the language, but you know, my point of view, this is a mindset.
Why
if you have
do it, basically?
Why you should do it, and what motivates you to do it? Yeah. So if you have the mindset, now this is an enabler. You can do basically anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also think this is the current kind of affair that some people just have the desire to do this, and others just have this
To watch it.
defense. No, I mean,
Create. Yeah, some people wanted to create, some people just wanted to observe.
some people want to. Some filmmakers or musicians, they have just the curiosity or desire to work with it, and others they just pretend that it's not here, or they don't even care to study it, and that's a mindset that actually prevents you from even looking at it, and you just have an opinion about it. So I think this is I mean, I don't know a lot of musicians, for example, that actually impressed it, because also
they reject the technology. They don't want to use it.
They pretend that it's not here.
In a way, you know.
Same with advertising business.
Yeah, it's just like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, our business actually has like two major directions. One is the media part, where we run numbers and tables. We book stuff, we buy stuff, we sell stuff. It's, you know, business related. And the other direction is the creative direction, where we create the arts, actually, that catch the attention, the imagination, and
Tell the story as well, yeah.
yeah, tell the story. So the idea here is that AI really influences both of these directions. And again, going back to the mindset, some people in our industry pretend that AI is not happening in both directions, but from where I stand, mostly the creative direction, people are very, very polarized on their standing of AI.
Okay.
People either think it's awesome, it's great, huge fans, or they say creative is creative, it doesn't have anything to do with artificial intelligence, and if you're not a creative person, then you can basically, you cannot create anything that's meaningful in terms of creative. I do not agree with this, because I think, you know, AI is an enabler.
Exactly.
Could you please walk me through a process or a project that you recently have implemented AI? So to see how creatives actually implement AI, either in the agency or yourself.
First of all, of course, I address my pain points, so to speak, so my weaknesses. For example, because I also do commissioned work. And sometimes we need, for example, some kind of period music, you know, like something. And what I would usually do is compose a piece by reverse engineering something that is serves as a reference, like a song from the 60s, I don't know, Mozart, it doesn't matter. So I would do for years my own version of machine learning, you know, like with studying, because I don't know, I can't, I'm not such universal composer, so I need to study something, and what I would do now at times is just make a sketch and then prompt it with a certain style, and then normally I would just use parts of it, because I still want to somehow be consistent with my other work. So I would use it in a way, because I'm very much into sampling for years. I love working with bits of sound. So in a way, it's natural for me. And the other thing that I would do for years, when I'm brainstorming how to compose music for a specific soundtrack, for example, which requires specific context, is shuffling my pieces in my laptop randomly until I I hear something that sticks. I know what I'm looking for. I cannot describe it.
So
but when I hear,
not able to prompt it.
I mean, what I want to say is that I'm used to working with randomness and with this kind of brainstorming.
Okay.
So it's more like experimentation.
So you like this process when you don't know
so
what's happening.
I'm familiar with this process, and I'm not so much looking to control the whole thing in a very tight frame. So that's why maybe this comes so natural to me. I can do like 50 versions of a piece until I hear something that sticks, because in the end it's about emotion, and you know, the algorithm doesn't actually feel the emotion. It doesn't actually know how it sounds, only by statistics, I guess. And then there is someone who has to select a part of it. I mean, something that works, especially with voices. Because these other tools, like digital instruments that mimic real instruments, this is not new. This is happening for years, as well as production music libraries, which are in a way also a cheaper way to to have all kinds of music without inviting session musicians or having a specific equipment and so on. But the voices is the most rare thing, to have someone sing something that gets your lyrics and sings it. That's the most rare thing, and that's maybe the greatest perk of it all, to have like different voices and so I would then tweak the result in a way, and there is no living person that you can ask to do like 50 versions of something.
Exactly.
And I'm looking for inspiration for this. I'm not really 100% relying on having the ready-made piece. So it's in a way a collaboration.
Do you think it allows you to be even kind of more creative or experimentative, to go to a different level because of that, because of these 50 different versions?
Yeah, I was thinking about this efficiency that we are talking about, because sure, things are getting much more faster, but still, the time I would need before to have one piece finished, and now it's like 100 times faster. But what if you take this same time, like, I don't know, 3 days, 2 days to create a piece and work with this, and not just looking for efficiency, because it's not always about creating like pieces in bulk. So you take this time to learn somehow how to collaborate with this tool.
Now, when you were sharing about the randomness and to be able to control the output, I had two extremely different projects recently.
Deal breaker, I think, for creatives to have
To
lose the control.
Yeah, but do you know what's the difficult thing? If you have a customer, I had a customer who wanted to create a piece, a 2 minutes or 3 minute short film about the birthday, the anniversary of her mother. She was going 60, and they wanted to do a short film about her life from a baby to now. And we were using archive footage, pictures of her, of the real person. And it ended to be extremely difficult to be one-to-one, to create through AI, to control the AI basically, not to use the random outputs. And it takes so much time to finish it, these 2 minutes. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that it's gonna be so difficult to create this documentary type of movie. If you are, because they say, no, here she doesn't look like her, here she doesn't feel like her. And it's super difficult to manage to recreate the reality with AI. But there's other projects where you are accepting the randomness, the chaos, the creativity, and the dance of ideas, of chances, and you have so many choices. Then you go with one idea, but you see different output, and you create the third idea. And everybody is super happy because they didn't expect these twists of events or ideas. And in that way, it's more like, wow, this is super fun to do it, because you are just dancing, like improvising with the material and with ideas and the outputs, and it's a play. But if you go to make the AI execute everything what you want, it's really painful process. Super painful.
Faces are sensitive.
Faces, sounds, how they sound. Even it's about the emotion, the feeling. It doesn't feel like the original, How you can manage to feel it if it's not the original? So...
Because I remember you were telling me that the media agency you mentioned, you're working with numbers. You actually went to a pitch where you managed to do the creative part because of AI. Maybe you can share more on how that was believable. Did you play with the process, and what was it like?
It was great. We actually have now done 3 separate, quite big tenders with AI-generated output. In terms of creative, I mean, not just data. They have been extremely well taken by clients. One of them was specifically, briefed to be created by AI. The other two, we went with the whole AI idea, disclosing that this is AI generated. The one was kind of a funny movie about a person that jumps from work to leisure, quite literally, from actually working, jumping into the sea. So it enabled us to do a funny iteration of something that didn't have a specific phase in a matter of one day. Something that production-wise would have been at least 2 shooting days and several days to edit. And then we needed to create like artificial post-production for this specific moment when the person jumps from work to the actual sea. Something that we were able to create from scratch within 1 working day. So for us, like I said, is a giant enabler. It's not a universal solve-it-all tool. We must not look at it as a universal do-it-all, solve-it-all tool. And what I'm always, telling all the people within the group concerning AI is that the output is directly correlated to the input. So if you're not then able to give your idea, tell the AI what exactly you're imagining with details and specific directions, then improvisation happens. And AI improvises the way AI wants, and people are disappointed. So at the end of the day, if you do the correct input, you will get the expected output. And in this way, we're also doing the same for data and strategic work, for example. We input huge pieces of analysis, purchasing data from our clients, and then the AI analyzes it and gives us specific ideas for our business after this. Things that would have otherwise taken weeks in work now happen within 1 or 2 days. So for us, this is really a pivotal moment. I'm really glad that within our group, we just sat one day and we were like, it's happening. Which side of history we want to be? And we didn't really have much discussion. It was like, we want to be on the right side. And for me, this is the right side. I know there are a lot of people that would say, this is crazy, it's not as good. Yes, it's not as good, but it's getting better and better each day, each hour even. I mean, when we started implementing it by the end of last summer, we were at a pretty high level back then.
Exactly.
Now, 6 months in, it's so much better. It's really, literally, it's crazy how fast technology moves. And I'm really grateful that we decided to, go with the full speed approach. I'm really grateful to our enablers and partners here that helped us enable this for us. So, yeah, I think AI is great.
Elbi, in your opinion, how transparent should creatives be in the usage of AI?
I would really go fully transparent. But for example, there are areas where this is not actually important. I mean, for music, one thing that AI-generated music would prevail on is the kind of streaming music that actually doesn't get so much attention. So I think in these areas, no one would care about the tools of production, because it's digital content anyway. I mean, digital tools for producing music has been around for more than 30 years. I mean, computer-wise, for example. So it's not so different. I think truly transparent. There are still unresolved issues about copyright and who owns what. And
with sampling in music, it's very difficult to copyright stuff.
Sampling was the same problem in the 90s, as far as I'm informed. I mean, in the 90s, there were these cases that actually settled what would be the
length of the sample was there, yeah?
No, before, I think, 1991, there was no such, people wouldn't...
There was no such technology
predict there would be such copyright theft, like what happened after that. And it also happened because certain technologies became available with hip-hop, like certain hardware became available, so people started using it not exactly the way it was supposed to be used. As music is always interesting when artists start to use it in a way that was not supposed to be the initial goal. So besides that, I think transparent as much as possible, and even with a sense of humor, I think, maybe, because if you're an artist, if we're talking about artists, like a performer or something, you cannot really pretend that, you cannot really make this content and pretend it's yours or something. There have to be some...
It's been around for many years, though. I mean, this has been around since forever, like literally forever. In art, I mean, like copying and...
Exactly.
Remixing. Yeah, remixing. Inspiration from other people's ideas, what Picasso used to say about theft and flattery, etc. But now, do you think that AI will just scale the theft, or actually make it go backwards? And by backwards, I mean AI would again be enabler to get more output, more qualitative output, without it being a direct copy? Or
well, I think in theory it would never actually be a direct copy, although there are cases and there are lawsuits as far as I know, but there's this random seed every time that changes the structure, the timbre, the material, in a way that it's actually like with image generation. It's like a little bit of 1,000 things, because it's been trained on 1,000,000 things. So it's a little bit of this and that. And there's no, and it's not recognizable as any of this. It just reminds you of something from time to time. And this randomness, actually, I think this is the key to, not happening what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The other thing is just the training data. That's also a sensitive topic.
Still, generic output is going to be generic, even if hand-drawn. If it's generic, it's generic. It's your mind and your ideas that make it original, even if you create it with artificial technology.
There is also this thing that you still have to work with labels, with tags. You always have to tag the genre, the instruments, everything. So it's, and music, it's, especially with music, it's not always about recognizable styles or tags. It's always some kind of generalization. So it would always start with something mediocre, because it just gets what's the most common in like 2 million dubstep pieces. So it gets the pattern, and you get the most
average,
the most average thing.
Yeah.
So and there is still no way around it except by the human mediator. So you cannot, if you rely on tags or maybe just a combination of some strange combination of things, then it will work. But still, you have to describe the music first, which a musician wouldn't always like to do, to describe in advance what he's going to create. So that's this creativity problem, I think, which is still,
I find here two ways to see the AI in creative industries. And recently I had an experiment. I created a trailer for my screenplay. And it was extremely interesting process because the screenplay is based on a very high IPs. Basically, the cast should be Brad Pitt, Javier Bardem, and Kate Winslet. That's how the screenplay is based on them, because it's a small anyway. And I decided to create a trailer using their faces. And in the movie trailer, it's like 1.5 minutes. Brad Pitt, Javier Bardem, and Kate Winslet are playing in my movie. And it's super weird experience because, the trailer is kind of the highlight of the movie. The vibe, the style, the mood, the tension, the premise, the story, the idea, put in 1.5 minutes. And when you create it with the people who you have imagined, and over the sudden you see them, they talk your lines, and you see them act your scenes, it's super weird experience. Because this movie is not existing. There's no such a movie, but you have the trailer and you watch it. And sometimes you think that how everything is changed right now. You start vice versa. You start with the highlight and it's a proof of concept, and people watch the proof of concept and they decide to invest. Before that was a pitch deck or a screenplay, but now they will expect probably a movie generated with AI, and they will decide to recreate it with real people. So it's super weird now how everything changed. What the expectation of the business, of the producers?
It's already for our business. We do perfectly.
Because you have a small 30-second piece of art, the commercial or whatever. For you, it makes sense.
Instead of creating storyboards, mood boards, etc., we just, do the actual idea with AI-generated people, and then this is the idea. This is the actual storyboard.
That's the movie.
But it's alive. Exactly. And clients are like, "This is the actual clip?" And we're like, "It could be." And we have all sorts of different conversations around this.
From that point, yeah.
Yeah, because they're like, "Is this AI generated?" And we're, "Yes, it is." That's unreal. We can use this as the thing. AI is changing the advertising agency model. Not only the creative advertising agency, but also the media advertising agency. Because now we're, talking here about incremental value and output and quality of the output, and not just billing clients for hours that we have done project management. And in the past, it's been a model where we either have billable hours or percentage of fees, budgets and fees. And now the whole industry is going towards, let's say, subscription models.
Okay.
You want to use our brains.
Creativity brains. Yep.
Yeah. And this is, I think, is great for business as well, because before this, it was billable hours. I want you to do this project management for us. You brief these creative people, you brief the production house, you brief the actors, you find them, you do contracts with everybody, you manage everybody, you do the booking of, where you shoot the scenes, locations, scenarios, all of this. Now, you need to have a good idea, and you need to know the flow, how to execute it. Some of the production is going to be there, but it's incrementally going to be much better because of two things. First, efficiency of project management and how you have, automated the project management, and then purely idea-wise, you can have a much more structured idea. You can enhance your output, even in terms of idea, not just by enhancing your planning and your idea generation, your, for example, target audience insights and that kind of, work that used to be like questionnaires, interviews, panels. Now you get this data and then the output is almost instant. So, like I told you in the beginning, my mind is drifting. So if I have to tell you the whole process, we use it from the beginning when we are brainstorming the ideas. We use it in terms of operational organization. We use it in terms of operational delivery. And then if we need to, we also use it as creative generation. And then, putting all of it together, of course. So much faster, not necessarily much cheaper, but definitely with higher quality. And this is the key here, higher quality. And a lot of people are concerned entry-level jobs are gonna get lost. There are a lot of people who would be out of work because they're not actually needed because we automated this and that, and the whole process is now into AI. I don't agree, but my take here is that the focus shifts a lot. So instead of one, especially entry-level, job people that are in the beginning of their career, instead of focusing on one fairly simple trajectory in their work and then, broadening their horizons, they can start broad and then focus. But it's gonna be, at least in our field of work, a lot more universal. So people are gonna go a lot more towards the consulting part and the strategic part, and actually finding the right data to command the prompt and the AI so that you get the best output.
I wanted to ask about this whole structure that you described. That do you have all this? Are these all different stages connected, like marketing, research, brainstorm? I mean, digitally, or do you manually, get the results into another tool, for example, for the creative process?
Yeah.
In the marketing, research, and stuff like this. Can you connect these different AIs? Yeah.
They have a big AI for everything.
Again, another great, question. We used to have tools for everything. Each step had its own tool. And now we're consolidating. We have this one infrastructure. And it's not just single LLM. We work with our AI partners. Shout out Juma. Not sure if I can do this little ad here.
No problem.
But yeah, they have been great. We're consolidating tools in there. And consolidation of tools for us means consolidation of data. And consolidation of data in the context of AI means better and better output. And the traditional here limitation of the LLMs that they don't actually have the actual operational storage to command large pieces of data. We were able to solve this with our partner Joomla. And now we can gather huge amounts of data and then use it over and over again.
And how are people in the agency reacting towards that? How are they accepting these changes? Especially people who have worked there for 10 years, let's say.
Much like society. There are people that are very happy and very eager and went in full throttle. We have had people that have been AI enthusiasts from the start, that for them it wasn't much of a change because they're already, getting a lot out of it. There were other very productive people who did not really use AI. Wow. And then they just saw the opportunity, took it, and they're like 3 levels above
The other people.
where they were 6 months ago. I think all of this is quite normal. It's a pivotal moment for everybody, for society, for business, for art. Much like, I think, the Industrial Revolution. This is
Even more.
it's definitely more than just the dot-com boom. I think it's a pivotal moment in history. And we cannot expect everybody to be on board, but mostly it's been great.
One task you now do with AI every day.
I would say I do all of my work stuff, creative stuff, communicating stuff, self-learning, self-growing. AI is just like full-time, every day, working.
On my end, something that I rely super heavily on AI is project management. Getting my mind into the same place and structuring my thoughts so that it actually becomes a project with steps. This is such an enabler for me. When I walk my dog in the morning, I just speak to the AI, I lay out a bunch of stuff, and it's an assistant. It tells me, you need to do this first. To do this, you need to do these 3 steps, etc. So this is something that I really use on a daily basis, but I do a lot of experimenting, so yeah.
So I try to every day write a small piece of text and see how it would sound, but it's not like for work. And the other thing that is not so much interesting, I think what I often have to do, maybe not every day, but it's instrument separation.
With AI.
Yeah.
And one task you refuse to automate.
Movie recommendations.
You don't want to automate.
Yes, I don't
You want
trust
somebody to suggest human suggestions.
No, this is something that I don't trust the taste.
Part of my work is to, experiment daily. What can you actually do with AI? So I've tried to do a lot of stuff on personal level. I think I refuse to do color matching experiments, which is a bit weird. And I thought AI would be great with this, and it's not. From, creative work to like personal questions, like personal style. I experimented with that. It still sucks.
I would never leave AI to speak for myself, to present myself, and to be my avatar. That's probably, this is one of the things which I will say to anybody. never use an avatar for yourself. Images, video, never. Because this is the biggest value you have, yourself. And if you outsource it, you are basically screwed. Because you have only 3 seconds to impress, to present yourself. And it's not about visual and sound. It's something which is over there, but it's not technology. And if you miss this, basically you are missing the biggest chance to connect on a human level. It's not about perfection. It's not about how good or how bad you sound, look, whatever. It's about that you are there and you project yourself. And people feel it. And you cannot hijack feelings.
And why one creative job that AI will replace?
It's already replacing all the jobs.
I mean, for digital advertising, AI has been a part of it a lot of years before the actual boom. Algorithms, bidding, selection of inventory, etc. This has been done in an automated fashion for the past 15 years. And it has not killed the job. In terms of creative, though,
Copywriter?
oh, yeah, I mean, all of them, yeah, I agree with this. But you don't want to rely on this. You need to evolve. I mean, these jobs, some of them will disappear. They will not just, the people will not vanish. They will do their job, but in a different way. They will be, controlling the output, controlling the input and controlling the output. So
it's up to us to be prepared that we have to something which AI cannot. And that's human communication, connection, talk. And we have to value that and we have to improve in that. And we have to really understand where is the value here.
and basically sales jobs are never getting extinct.
But also it's because sooner or later, as has happened with many tools, people get this sense of what is AI created, what is not. There are actually tools now that verify it, but it was like Photoshop in the beginning. You had this authentic Photoshopped image, and then people started recognizing what is what. So there will be a new shift in taste, I guess. Also,
the taste will be here.
yeah,
That will be the taste.
there's always.
We are going backwards to the cave, fire and people around the fire.
Just
Because-
give the image.
I mean, that will be the highest value.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining the Recursive Round Table.
Thanks for having us.
The Recursive Round Table. 3 voices, 1 idea to decode the future.